Shockingly, this week, Revival. So, like I said, this is actually a book that I've been a huge fan of for a while. I was attracted to it just because of the front cover of the first volume, just this girl walking through a field with a scythe. And it's another Image book, came out in, I believe, give me one second, 2015. So it's an older one that just I've been a fan of for a while. And I'm going to start by apologizing to you because you're going to notice that some of the art looks different. For example, this actually was supposed to be picture number 7. They do a weird thing in this one where issue number 1 starts after where volume number 1 starts. I've never seen that before. So you'll notice volume number 1, you open it up and it goes straight to the story. And then many pages later, we get the title page. So this is an interesting one. Anyway, so let's hop right into it. This was one that was going to be on the list for a while anyway. And we're just going to, it jumped the line. So this one starts with us in this small town called Wausau, Wausau. You can write in the phonetic pronunciation if you know that. Wausau, Wisconsin. And it starts at this a crematorium. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just, a funeral home. Late at night, 1 a.m. And it's this woman is she's interviewing the cremator. I don't know what else to call him. And it's just weird. She's just like, he's like, oh, well, this is it. This is where, have you ever seen a cremation before? Well, get ready. You're about to see one. And she's literally sitting there like, no, I don't. I'm literally the low man on the scrotum. I'm tired, y'all. I'm the low man on the totem pole. And we're doing a series on
this nigga got some $1 million words, don't he?
Oh, that's a fantastic Freudian slip. And we're doing a series on like the lesser known jobs in town. So I got to do this one. So she's like, all right, I'm just going to film it. Go ahead. And she pulls out her phone while this guy starts loading a body into a furnace. It's obviously a weird situation, but what are you going to do? And so the guy's like telling her, he's like, I just want you to give you a heads up, sometimes if there's something like a little denser in there that needs to really be burnt up, we got to flip this switch. And sometimes it can sound a little weird. So I don't want to scare you because sometimes it can sound like, and then he's like screaming as like this crazy piercing scream just peels out of the room. So he's doing that. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry about the scream. And that would be one thing. But then they start hearing thumping coming from inside the furnace. After that, they're getting some screaming. And next, and when I say screaming, I mean like at this point, it's legit a human screaming, because the next thing they know, the door bursts open and this dude on fire is crawling out, screaming at him. And the guy working there is freaking out. The woman interviewing him is freaking out. And as they're freaking out, behind them, they hear, hello? And they turn around and there's this little girl in her obvious, like dressed for the casket, the showing. And she's like, I'm not sure where I am. Do you know where my mommy is? I'm really cold. And after that, we start seeing around town people in an old folks home waking up, guys sitting up in the morgue in the police department. And then the next one we see is really odd because it's in the same vein, but it's not a person. It's this alien ghost looking thing crawling under a bridge, just as it's crawling along. And then from there, we get our title page for Revival. So, sorry, I'm switching over to the better quality pictures now. So then we get some introduction along with some exposition coming through it. We see the town in different parts. We see, just the snow coming down, the what's it called? The barn. We see the sign, all of it. And the exposition is just, we stood up on two legs and raised our heads above the golden grass. He was there. We sharpened stone and steel, used tools to harvest grass, beast and brother. He was there. We clustered together in brick and mud, swarming with rats and plague. He was there. And then as we start going through town now, we're seeing, some of the buildings, we're seeing the dock, we're seeing just the road. And the exposition continues. We built nations in mistrust. Our fingers hovered over the red button. He smiled. Still we build to rise above the golden grass, away from the reach of his scythe, for a day when he will harvest no more. And at the end of this, it says, by Martha Cypress, Creative Writing 201 class, NWF, Professor Weimer. And it's clearly referring to death. And it was clearly a writing assignment for a class. Now, from there, it cuts to this farm, and we see this weird-looking horse, like a horse zebra, running around as it's like frothing from the mouth, and it's getting the crazed look in its eyes. And it just 2 full pages of this thing running, but then it starts coughing out blood. And we're not sure why, but this horse is trying to survive while its body is literally betraying it. And eventually it just falls dead in the snow, a trail of blood leading all the way back behind it. From there, we cut to a highway checkpoint and just a bunch of police cars blocking the road. And we've got a bunch of guys talking here, and they're like, oh, how's the border holding up? And they're like, as you'd expect, pretty boring, mostly religious types. We have one guy come up here saying that the revival's is a miracle, which is to be expected. But then he goes, it's a miracle, and it's the only thing that can cure his impotence. Therefore, we have to let him sleep with a revivaled woman. And it's like, what the shit? And they're like, yeah, he had his thumb up his butt the whole conversation. Then we see Sheriff Cypress, and he's sitting there, and he's like, oh, God, I got to deal with these CDC idiots and da-da-da. And someone's like, Sheriff? And, of course, it's the new CDC guy. This guy, Ibrahim Ramin, who he's the new CDC liaison, and he's, like, really excited to get there and talk about all this. And the sheriff could not care less. He's like, whatever, I got a meeting, and drives off. From there, we see this other town called Rothschild, Wisconsin, and we're listening to a radio program going back and forth. One guy's clearly like, this is obvious proof that Catholicism's the only way and God's real. And someone's like, okay, even if you want to go that route, there's no proof that all of the revived are Catholics. And he goes, can you prove to me they aren't? And they're just going back and forth while we have this woman in the background brushing her teeth, a cop shirt on the bed. And these guys are just arguing. Well, there hasn't been time for studies. Of course, we can't prove it wasn't God if we haven't had time to look into it. And this guy's like, it's in the Bible. You got to listen. And while they're talking, we go back to the woman, brushing her teeth, washing her face. Eventually, she's buttoning up the shirt while these guys are like, so you're saying that we should turn these people into guinea pigs? And he's like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're people and we got to figure it out. Anyway, so she finishes getting dressed. She's like, oh, God, it's already 8:30. And she goes outside. She's, Cooper. She's calling her son. And, he's like, hang on, I'm not done. And he's playing with his robots and everything. But then he hears something weird in the woods. A weird voice just, where's the baby? And he sees that weird alien ghost thing. I don't know what else to call it. Just walking through the trees like it's nothing. And it keeps going. It's like, blow cheeks as altars. And Cooper's curious, but a little too curious. And as he's walking close, he steps on a stick. And the alien thing hears him and looks straight at him. And Cooper just does the only smart thing he's done here. He fucking sprints back to his mom, and they're getting in the car, and she's like, I'm sorry, buddy. I know it's my week. I got to drop you back off your dad's. And like, maybe, just like establishing that even despite literal resurrection and possible holy things, possible alien, who knows, people still just got a normal life. And, Cooper's like, it's okay, Mom. And they're driving off. And as they're driving off, Cooper looks back. And this is the part where it might get a little worrisome for him because he hears, Cooper, as the alien ghost looks on, whispering his name, clearly learning from the mom. Anyway, mom drops him off. She goes to the police station. She walks in. This old guy, Lester's at the front desk talking it up with the intake lady. And she's like, good God, Lester, how about, instead of trying to always get out of these speeding tickets, you just slow down a little bit. And he's like, oh, his whole thing is like, she's like, aren't you getting a little long in the tooth? And he's like, only thing I have that's getting longer on me ain't my tooth. And she's just like, oh God. And we find out her name's Dana. Dana's just like, oh, getting pretty deep in here. Okay. And Lester, not slowing down at all, turns to the front desk woman and he's like, hey, what are your plans for the night? Anyway, so now, Dana's in there and she's talking with the other officer. She's like, hey, Brent, how's it going? Miss anything? And just like a couple of domestic violence, cabin fever. Everyone's really, it's getting up this time of year. And this is the thing that I thought was interesting why I wanted to add it. And she's like, well, it doesn't help that no one can leave. The entire town has become one big cabin. And it's like, yeah, that's a really good point. Emotions are brewing. Everyone's getting stir crazy and you're just kind of keeping them all together with this crazy supernatural thing. Anyway, so, she's just trying to like start her day and everything. And all of a sudden, her dad calls her into this interrogation room. And her dad, the sheriff, is like, well, how's Cooper? And she's like, oh, good. He did the funniest thing. And he just cuts her off. He's like, good. Officer Cypress, please sit down. Which, like, all right, come on, dude. You can't start off being like daughter and then be like officer. I mean, what a dick. Anyway, so he gets right into it. And he's like, have you met any of them? She's like, huh? And he's like, there were fivers. It's like, oh, I mean, yeah. I met Jean. But I didn't even realize what was happening. Evidently, like she just woke up in the morgue, walked right over to the store, started, just doing her job again. Didn't expect to be, buying potato salad from a recently resurrected person. And he's like, whatever. The CDC is trying to get in and I can't deal with it. So like we had to make some compromises. So listen, I know you wanted to be a detective, so sorry, but not anymore. She's like, huh? And he's like, well, the CDC, they don't get to decide what's going on. They think it's a disease. Other people, the feds are nervous as a whore in church, and he goes, so we're making a revitalized, crime team, and it's you're the leader. And she's like, how is this how am I prepared for this at all? He's like, because you have to be, because I'm counting on you. And it's just like, okay, dude, whatever. Anyway, so Dana's like, oh, she's just driving and trying to deal with it. She's talking with the girl at the front desk, Bonnie, who, by the way, we find out is going out with Lester. So shot is shot and it worked. And she's driving over this bridge when she comes to a broke down car and sees her sister of all people. And she's calling out to her and she's like, Martha. Come on, another Martha. Comic books. We've had enough. All right. And she's like, Martha Cypress. And she turns around. She's like, what are you doing? And she's like, are you hurt? Like, what's going on? And Martha's like, no, I was just watching the ice, flow. My car broke down. And she's like, what? Oh, you should have let Dad buy you a new one and da-da-da-da. And she's like, get in, I'll drive you back to the dorms. And they're driving, and she's like, well, like, how are things? And we find out they're really estranged. They haven't talked in a long time. Martha's like, did you make detective yet? And Dana's like, I mean, not exactly. And Dana's like, you should have just let dad buy you the new car. I mean, there's advantages to being daddy's favorite after all. And Martha's like, well, it didn't exactly break down so much as I forgot to put gas in it. And she's like, oh God, of course. Classic Martha. And so they're talking back and forth. And she's like, all right, I'll take you to the dorms. And Martha's like, I don't really want to go back. Can I hang out with you for a while? And she's like, I mean, I'm on a case. She's like, come on, I just really don't want to go back. She's like, all right. And Martha's like, so what's the case? And Dana goes, well, people are fighting over a Zorse. She's like, a what? She goes, Zorse, half horse, half zebra. Duh. She's like, well, there's someone out there who like they breed them, and eventually one of them got out, and like they think, someone killed it. They're like, ooh, a mystery. And they're like, yeah, I guess, okay, so you can come with, but you can't get out of the car because here's the thing, it deals with revivers. So you can come with, but if I let you out of the car, Dad's gonna kill me. And I was like, all right, I'll stay in the car, whatever. So anyway, they get there and Dana gets out, and the neighbors are yelling at each other. And I did not remember that they very much chose to somehow give this Asian guy an accent without you hearing his voice. So Dana's walking in. She's like, hey, I'm Officer Cypress. What's going on? And like I said, the Asian guy's yelling, and I will not do the voice, but his exact quote is, I not have anything to do with zebra. I am good neighbor.
Ooh,
They keep that going up for
this nigga got some $1 million words, don't he?
anyway. So then we get just some good old casual racism. The wife going, everyone knows you people eat dogs. And he's like, you people? Are you out of your mind? And also, dogs and horses aren't the same thing. And she's like, I know what I'm talking about. And and then like they see the cop like, kind of out of your jurisdiction, aren't you? And she's like, well, we're in a locked down area. You take what you can get when you need police. Also, we've been told there's a reviver here, and that's my position now. And she's like, and all right. She's like, all right. She's like, yeah, that's my mom. She's the reviver, but she doesn't have anything to do with this. It's just our dead Zorse, and this guy killed her. And she's like, okay, show me the Zorse. So anyway, Dana walks up while the old white lady screams racism because Wisconsin. Anyway, so she walks up to this Zorse and she's like, that's so fucking weird. And she sees like something's going on in the mouth, and she reaches in and she pulls it out, and there's fucking just like teeth, broken teeth in this mouth. No, how did that even get in there? And she's like, okay, well, like I need to see that, like where was the Zorse staying? And they're like, oh, in the barn. She's like, okay, I'll have to see that. But also like what's going on? Or no, I'm sorry, that's not what it was. She was like, did anyone have like high blood pressure medication? She's like, my mother was, but she doesn't need them anymore. She's like, okay, where is your mom? And they were like, the mom's in the barn. And she's like, okay, I need to see your mom. Remember, the mom's the one who is the revived one. So anyway, they go into the barn, and they're like, oh yeah, mom likes spending her time out here a lot. We had a cat who just gave birth to a litter of kittens. And they're like, oh, okay. And Dana walks up. She's like, oh, hey, kitty. Oh, what's that you got in your mouth? And this is where she pulls up a tooth. The cat was playing with a little tooth. And when she looks on the floor, it's literally covered in human teeth. Like, it makes no fucking sense. So they look over, and the revived mom has pliers. And she's pulling her teeth out of her fucking mouth and quoting scripture. She's like, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. And as she literally pops one out, for the trumpet shall sound and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And the mom's, she's saying this creepy shit as she's yanking out her teeth and reaching for her dentures. And she's like, no, it's fine. That horse was an abomination. And I've been raised an abomination. They're like, put down the pliers, ma'am. And she turns and she swings at Dana. She's like, same as me. And as she swings, Dana, being a good, normal cop, steps back because she's been trained in one self-defense class. And the woman's just so out of it, she keeps going. And she ends up stabbing her own daughter in the neck with these pliers. And her daughter, as like she's trying to breathe. And all of a sudden people are screaming. The husband's out there and he's like, what? Terry! And he runs inside. And the mom's like, look what you made me do. You tainted me as a murderer. And then the Asian guy that they were just real racisting at, he runs in, he's like, hey, leave her alone. And the mom grabs him and with one hand just snaps his fucking arm. And then goes back and she's fighting Dana and she's attacking her and everything's moving so fast. And then in like the confusion, Martha runs in. She's like, Dana. And the woman's like, I just wanted to rest. I wanted to sit with the Lord. As Martha's like, just thinks fast and runs over, and it's this old fucking barn and grabs a fucking scythe off the wall. And she goes, and she's going to attack this woman. Get off her. But Martha's not a fighter because the woman immediately grabs the scythe and puts it right through Martha's neck and her chest. And now Dana's sitting there and watches as her sister, who she hasn't seen in months, is falling dead to the floor. But she doesn't even have time to react because now the woman's back on her and she's like, everyone thinks it's a miracle. But then they whisper, they point, they ask me to heal them. And she goes, and then she says, my teeth just keep growing. And as she's saying this, her dentures are falling out of her fucking mouth. She's like, I have to pull them out so I can wear my dentures. It keeps me awake. I can feel them all. I can feel them moving, pushing like these little daisies. And then just, and the top of this woman's fucking head lops off. And Dana's just like, oh God, oh Jesus. And we just see this teal green shirt. And we see this wound underneath it along the neck. And it's slowly starting to heal. And they're trying to talk right away, but they can't until it's, but once it's healed enough, she's like, I wanted to tell you. But I can't remember what happened. And then we just see this picture of Martha, blood healed, but spilled all over her chest as she's holding the scythe. And she says, Dana, don't tell Dad. And that's the end of
You put him on mute, dog.
Oh.
You took him out of the thing.
Oops. I clicked him out. Wow.
I know you didn't mean to do it, but it did do it.
Sorry about that, Jeff. But yeah, that was Revival.
whatever. I got to the end. We're cool.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was just funny. He hit the wrong. He just hit the wrong button.
But yeah, obviously this is a show that we're going to be talking about. The new sci-fi Peacock TV show where we just got a small town full of Wolverines.
Which, by the way, I realized when Fifth Bantha mentioned earlier, there's 3 episodes out. Yes, but we're only able to watch them 1 week behind. You can watch them on TV right away, and then we got to stream them a week back. So you get 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to hear anything about, well, you guys are late. Well, we know we're late. Damn it.
Well, even with that excuse, we are late a week.